this part of the lesson, we are going to discover a second essential tool for helping us develop as musicians. We worked in the last lesson with the metronome, and my metronome looks a little bit like a flying saucer. Yours probably looks a little different. The metronome absolutely essential, but in addition to that, we need another tool that helps us work on intonation. And I believe that you as a student should not only use the metronome every day, but you should use this other tool every day. And that tool is what I call drones. This is just a single flat pitch, sounding pitch. Actually, I've chosen the sound of organ because it's very rich in harmonics, and it helps us more easily attune to a set note by listening to how our note fits in there. You can use these drones by downloading them as MP3 files from toread.net. I have my drones burnt on a CD here, and I have a CD player, but I realize that very shortly CDs are going to be passé, and so if you've got an iPod, put it on your iPod. Now, when you're working with drones, you can use your headset, but what I'd suggest is you put it over one ear and leave the other ear open. That way you're hearing the drone through one ear and you're hearing your instrument through the other, and you're able to make the adjustments for that. Okay, so let's start some work with drones. Well, we're going to discover a few ways to use drones in this lesson that you can continue to apply throughout your career. I found them very helpful for me and my students, and I think you will as well. Obviously, you can use drones as a way to tune a single pitch. For instance, if we're playing an exercise and just practicing stopping and starting a pitch, you can put on the metronome and the drone and practice that. For instance, I have here an F. And I could just practice stopping and starting notes. Oh, this is a great exercise for just practicing in the low register on bassoon, where we tend to be so sharp, but that's another matter. Okay, you can set the drone for what we call the tonic, or the note name, the first note of a scale or of a key signature. And this is often very helpful for tuning. I've selected a few studies for us now out of the Rubank method that illustrate how we could use drones and how I'd like you to use drones when you practice by yourself. For instance, in this first study, we have a B flat major chord. So I've set the drone to B flat, or the tonic note name. The reason I like drones so much is, unlike a tuner that has a needle that moves around, and with that needle you're making adjustments based upon what your eye sees, with the drones you have to tune with the ear. And it really is, after all, the ear that you're using when you play music, not your eye, to tune your intonation. So this is a great way to just become very adept and very perceptive at how you play in tune. This time let me play again a B flat, and I'm going to raise and lower the pitch a little bit, and let's see if you can hear when I'm in tune and out of tune. I started in tune, went up a little bit, and then down a little bit, and then became in tune. One way you can tell when something's out of tune is that it sort of oscillates and the notes seem to fight, and when they get in tune, they get closer, they fight less, and then suddenly it's like the waves are they're just moving together in parallel. And so you need to listen to this and figure out what it means when you're in tune and out of tune, and you can do that by playing a drone and try moving up and down the pitch a little bit to see where you match the tone. You can also practice your scales, not just the arpeggios or chords on the bassoon, but scales with a drone. For instance, here's a B-flat scale with the drone. I could hear I was having a little bit of trouble perfectly matching that high B flat, and so that would be something I should work on so it's just right there from the beginning of the note. Now, one of the issues with setting drones is to know which drone to set it to. For instance, let's look at the next example. We have one flat in it, it starts on F, and actually this is in the key of what we would say is F major. So one possibility is setting a drone for F. And this is what it would sound like with F going. Here's with F going. And that was helpful. I could adjust the pitch on several of the notes there. However, one other possibility, because music often moves from what we call a tonic chord to a dominant chord, and these are things you may not yet have heard in music, is to set the drone to what we call the dominant or the fifth scale degree. A way for us to find that fifth scale degree is to figure out what is the note name of the key signature or the tonic, in this case it's F, and count up 5 notes. So counting up, we've got F, G, A, B flat, C. C is the 5th note. So setting the drone for C often gives me more notes in tune or more notes that fit the drone than might be the case for F. Let me try that top line again using the drone. So you see, with the C drone, generally notes that are a 3rd higher, a 4th, even a 5th higher, are notes that you can easily tune within it. It sounds a little bit complicated. It's not that complicated. It's related to the way sounds work in nature and what we call acoustics. But experiment with different pitches. I mean, that's really the thing. Listen to yourself. Maybe set it for the tonic or the note name, and then try 5 steps above it, and just experiment. Using your ear, helping yourself to play in tune. I think it'll really help you advance your playing very rapidly. After all, you wouldn't go out in public without examining yourself in a mirror and combing your hair. Why should you then perform in public without carefully examining yourself using the tool of a metronome, using the tool of a drone to play better so you're at your best? So I encourage you to use these 2 wonderful tools and adjust your playing. God bless.